Man United 0, Crystal Palace 2. Just crap. Just total crap. Total crap.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And the stream, yeah, it's done. Yeah, that's it.
Like,
just 1 to 11 and the bench as well. They're all just not very good.
where, look, let's start with like the team selection. Yeah. Did Amorim get it right, or could you see why he was trying to push Kobe on one into the 9? You know, played really well against Steaua Bucharest in the 10. We're all saying give him another go at that. He pushes him a bit further. Too excited from Amorim, or trying to make a point that the other 2 9s aren't good enough? I'd rather play without you. Like, what do you think the thinking was behind that? Because whatever it was, it didn't work.
Yeah, so I saw what he said before the game. He said that when you match up system v system, obviously back 3 versus back 3 type thing, you need to try and do something different to catch them out. So I think the idea was that by having 3 players that can rotate quite a bit between the lines, it's difficult for the centre-backs whether to sort of sit in and wait for a run in behind or to follow the guy dropping in. But in reality, it just didn't work. I think I would have understood it if the front 3 were constantly rotating. Like, sometimes you see Garnacho in the middle, sometimes Ahmad in the middle, sometimes Kobe. But if it was just Manu, and he was brilliant in the 10. That's where he needs to play going forward, because it gets the best out of everything he's good at, and also crucially, it takes him away from having to do that work in midfield that he's not quite so good at. But he's had his best performance under Amorim in the 10, and then when you go and move into a different position, I don't get it. I would have understood it if it was fluid, but it just wasn't, and it didn't work. I think the other thing he tweaked, as you picked up on in yours, was Bruno dropping in really deep. And again, it makes sense because obviously they're going to impress with their front 3. So maybe we build out with a 4 with Bruno dropping in. It sort of makes sense. Martinez to left back, so we've got a left-footed angle on that side. But I think it was okay, but we only really had 10 minutes of fluidity. And then the amount of energy it takes to be really fluid and constantly buzz around everywhere, we're just not fit enough to do that for any longer than 10-15 minutes.
And we started turning the ball over loads as well in midfield, and then they had quite a few. Fucking Will Hughes, mate. Will Hughes in the little pockets. Like, what? William Hughes. Like, they just started picking us off in midfield, bypassing us. Then Ugarte picks up his customary yellow card, which he's always going to get. We get bypassed in midfield. It was just calamitous. It just went from bad to worse. Yeah,
Ugarte's no better than Torreira, for example. He's a very similar player. Just runs around kicking people, and that's about it. He's not great on the ball. Nearly actually cost us a couple of times with a bad turn, bad bit of judgment. We need so many new players, and we've said this so many times here after games. But there's 4 or 5 of their players that would probably start for us.
Yeah. And this was all without Eze. And at 1-0 up, when you see Eze start getting on, he starts gliding past people like they're not there, dropping the shoulder, no one can get near him, left Bruno for dead, danced his way into the box before he lost control of it. But that's an unfit Eze. He couldn't even manage a whole 90 here today.
Yeah, it's bad. It just shows the levels we've dropped to. It really is staggering, the difference between the teams. And I know they weren't at their best to beat us, but they didn't have to be. It was just a couple of transitions, a couple of turnovers, as you said. And the set-piece goal, yeah, you can maybe say it was a bit unlucky, but really, we've seen Euro lose quite a lot of aerial duels. He's not great at that. And then the rest of it, just not reacting at all, that's unforgivable. That, like, if he's going to contest a duel, everyone else needs to be at least running back to try and deal with the second ball. Like, I know, okay, maybe Anana could do something about it, but it comes off the bar, and there's none of our players there to react.
No one.
It's just Mateta. It's schoolboy stuff, but I think the frustrating bit is it's just confidence, and it's up here more than anything else. It's like the first 10 minutes, you've got that plan that we've worked on for a couple of days, talked about it. You can see they're
fresh in their minds, they're in it.
Yeah, they're so excited to try it. And then a couple of things go against us, and all of a sudden it's dead. And by a couple of things going against us, I mean our mistakes.
Yeah, ball might have been overcooked a little bit. Yeah. Someone goes on the overlap, didn't quite get it. The shot blocked, or like you said, little things.
Or just straight passing to Palace players. That sort of stuff. It's unforgivable. But even the one that frustrates me most is when Dalot and Garnacho are on the left side. Dalot gets it, and he's got the chance. If he plays it into Garnacho back foot, into his left foot, even if Garnacho just stops it first time, because he's played it back foot, the defender's backing off straight away. So he can then cut back and actually has space to get a shot off straight away. But every time he played it to his right foot, when Garnacho kills it with his right foot straight away, he's got 2 choices. Either he cuts in, but it's from a standing start and the defender's not moved, or he's even come towards him, which means it's very difficult to get a shot off. Or if he does try and go around the outside, his momentum's completely stopped because he's going this way to control it, and then he's got to go that way. So it's just basics there with the playing to the right foot of the player that's going to receive it. And you expect that from top football players, and we just don't have that, and it's embarrassing.
There's a couple of hours, well, not a couple of hours actually, a day left of the window. Is there anything you're trying to push for? Is there anything you think we absolutely have to be on? There's this Matisse Tell stuff. Leon Bailey stuff. I don't know, Christopher Nkunku later. I don't know, but is it important now? You look at the lack of forward options. You know, Rasmus not fancied, Xerxes not fancied. Played Kobbie Mainoo in the 9 today. How important is it that we try and do something?
The bit that probably worries me most for Amorim and for the club going forward is, you know, Rashford's situation where it's got downhill over a few years, but it got to the point at the end where everything he did, people got on his back, whether it was not jumping for an aerial duel, not pressing the ball, even a shot where he cuts in and shoots into a player like he always does. And the fans just go, oh, every single time. The problem is now, that's not just Rashford, it's the whole club. Every single player on the pitch, when there's a mistake, everyone just goes, oh, because we've seen it so many times. And the only way you can change that is by starting to deliver straight away. And the frustrating bit is, I think we've signed a lot of young players who are ready to go to the next level, but we haven't got the senior players to mentor them, to take them, to carry them for a couple of months whilst they get there. And so for now, I think Amorim's got the rest of the season, but honestly, if the players he signs don't start performing next season, people are going to be very, very frustrated. I hope the club hold their nerve regardless and stick with him and stick with the project. But it's a toxic atmosphere already because of what we're seeing on the pitch every single week, and it's only going to get worse and worse. And you can see why we're getting points away from home and struggling here, because every time things start to go wrong, you know, the reaction from the fans, you know how it is. Everywhere in the stadium, it's depressing. It really is. And there's nothing we can really do to change that apart from get players in who are ready to perform, but also have the strength of character. I think the thing that was most telling for me that I've seen in the last few months was that the Ligt interview, where he said, I'm glad I didn't go to United straight from Ajax. I'm glad I went to Bayern first and Juve first, because he would have been swallowed up by the club here, because it is super,
He's saying that the atmosphere is intense, like you said, it's toxic.
Yeah.
You're losing games.
It's not intense in a good way, like on a European night when everyone's buzzing. It's intense in every mistake, everybody's on your back, because we've seen it, we've had enough of it, and it is really, really shit. That's the frustration.
Go again.